Going on, guys? Austin here. We're going to be taking a look at 5-Minute Fantasy's Week 8 booming and busting running backs. I'm going to say this week is a must-start for Chris Carson. In the future weeks, I haven't looked at the schedule recently, but it looks like Chris Carson has a couple tough matchups coming up. But I would definitely say start him against Atlanta. Atlanta's falling apart. The fact that they might not have Matt Ryan. They're not going to have Mohamed Sanu. This could turn into a real lopsided game real fast. So start Chris Carson. I'm going to say start both Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones for Green Bay against Kansas City. As I said in the previous video, that's why I'm going to say sit Aaron Rodgers, because I think that these two are going to really bell cow it out this game. I could potentially see a combination of, like 220 yards and 3 touchdowns. I'm going to say start Le'Veon Bell against Jacksonville. I know that Le'Veon Bell fantasy owners have been really disappointed and confused. I still think that Le'Veon Bell is the best running back in the league. All surrounding parts being equal, I think that Le'Veon Bell has, every tool that, not every other running back has. Look to start Le'Veon Bell against Jacksonville. I think that Jacksonville, their defense, especially in the passing game out of the slot to running backs, can be had. Start Todd Gurley this week. I know I said to start Jared Goff because I don't think Todd Gurley is going to get a lot of touches, but I think that Todd Gurley could potentially have, like 10 carries and maybe 5 targets, and most of them be in the red zone. He's really going to be their scoring back at this point. I'm going to say start Ty Johnson on the Detroit Lions. I'm a little skeptical about this one, but he seems to be a better pass-catching back than Kerryon Johnson has been, so I think that they're going to be using him a little more. I don't think that Detroit really wants to use Ty Johnson and DJ McKissick in a really ground and pound heavy game, but I think that they'll use Ty Johnson in the passing game. And then start Austin Ekeler. Chicago gives up points to running backs in the passing game, and so far this season, Austin Ekeler is the best pass-catching back in the NFL, more than Christian McCaffrey, more than David Johnson, more than any other running back. So far, Austin Ekeler, I believe he's coming up on 500 yards in the passing game relatively soon, which is a lot. Going into my sit, my running backs I think are going to bust. I'm going to say don't even touch Chase Edmonds. I know he had an amazing, fantastic game last week. Don't touch him. He's going up against New Orleans. New Orleans has a great running defense. I would say be careful about starting David Johnson, because I don't even know if he's healthy. I don't think he's practiced at all this week. If he plays, if you only have a few running backs, I wouldn't start it. If you only have a few running backs, you got to start him. But if you have, like a really running back heavy team, I'd see if you can't, switch him off for, a guy like Marlon Mack or somebody else. I'm going to say sit Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon doesn't seem to have the same pass catching abilities that Austin Ekeler does in Chicago. Doesn't give up a lot of points between the guards to running backs. So, be careful about him. That coupled with the fact that I don't think he's very bonded to the team right now. I think he's kind of disenfranchised, and he could possibly be traded to a team like a Detroit, or maybe like another team that's looking for like a legitimate running back right now. I'm going to say sit Nick Chubb. Again, he's going up against New England. There's not really much to say there. I don't care that Cleveland's coming off a bye. I don't trust their coaching staff, and I don't trust their players to really be on top of preparing for New England. I'm going to say sit Kenyon Drake. He could potentially be traded before the week is up, and also he's going up against Pittsburgh, who has a top defense again in the league. I'm going to say sit Phillip Lindsay. Going up against Indianapolis. Indianapolis has a really good defense. They finally got Darius Leonard back, who was last year's Defensive Rookie of the Year, even though I thought it should have been Derwin James. But don't start Phillip Lindsay. I think that they're going to be running a lot through their number 2 running back. I can't think of his name right now, but he gets a lot of touches as well. And then I'm going to say be careful about Christian McCaffrey. Again, this is one of those situations like David Johnson where if you have a guy like, if you have like an Aaron Jones and a Le'Veon Bell and a Marlon Mack, if you have a really running back heavy team, don't start Christian McCaffrey because he's going up against San Francisco. It seems like a very high risk, middle of the pack reward game for him. So be careful about starting so far the best running back in the NFL.